What is going on, everybody? It is Lukey Boy. So let's just go over today a very simple flip strategy for NFTs. Okay, nothing fancy, nice and simple. Doesn't require a lot of cash or Ethereum. Doesn't mean it's going to happen overnight, but just by reducing your risk in terms of not playing with fancy amounts, thinking you've got to be putting in 1 or 2 ETH and buying something for 2 ETH to flip to 4. You don't necessarily have to do that. Of course, you can do that a lot easier in the bull market, and it doesn't mean you cannot do it in the market now. But why play it, fancy when you can keep it nice and simple? Get your confidence up, for example, by obviously making some profits when the market's down. Well, of course, that's just going to give you confidence for the future, right? So you don't have to obviously complicate it. It doesn't mean that I'm just doing this one strategy. You've got to layer strategies on top. Not all of them are going to work. You have 10 strategies. In a bull market, 8 work. In a bear market, 4 work, or 3 work, or 2, or even 1. But it gives you options to be able to play different strategies based on how the market is allowing you to potentially play them, right? Just like playing with Amazon, right? That's how I see it. Like I've got 1,000 units that I could sell all year round, and I might sell 800 of them during Q4. And then you come to January Q1, I can sell 500, 50% of the total product range that I know will sell through the year. It just depends on the market conditions. And obviously, if you layer that up over time, you get obviously some ups and downs, but obviously each of all that profit from different periods is going to phase through into next year, the year after, so on and so on. Yeah, same kind of strategy. Obviously, we're trying to accumulate, make profits. Doesn't have to be crazy. You give it 6 months, you got a couple of ETH, then you're able to buy some great NFT projects that obviously with a lot less kind of emotional risk. And then you have a bit of a bull cycle, you sell it for 6, blah, blah, blah. Not to say that that's actually going to happen. I mean, it's not financial advice, right? But pretty straightforward, plays here. We're not overcomplicating it. So what am I going to do? Well, I'll just show you one that happened yesterday. I mean, I've obviously spoken about this before. I just picked up a handful of these. I had 3. I've got enough to get like 7 or 8. But obviously you've got to, wait for people to accept your bid. That is the strategy. So what does that even mean? Well, first you want to identify a project that you love, not just the artwork or something like that, but maybe the artist, maybe what they're doing, maybe their goal, maybe, how long they've been in the space. You need to really, can't just be playing with random stuff. I mean, technically you can, because you should be identifying that it's dirt cheap already. But obviously there's a chance that prices of those NFTs can go down, right? They can go to 0. Ultimately they could go to 0. And this project for me is an amazing one. And not only that, but I see the potential of this in the future being ridiculous. And if I am stuck with these, that is completely fine because I'm getting in cheap. And even if it does come down a bit and I'm stuck with them, well, that's fine. Because in theory, I could pick up some more cheaper. So let's say that, I can get 8 or 7, whatever I said. I've only got 2 now. So if the price does come down, and obviously the price I got these originally is now kind of a little bit higher than I would like based on the current price. Well, I can go and pick up some more even cheaper. You see, and I can sell those first if that's the play I want to do. So let's just kind of go into this and I'll explain. So I've just sold one of mine last night, and I probably held this for 2 weeks, something like this, 14 days, yeah. And you might think, does it really even bother? Should I bother? Well, it's just like anything. Doing an Amazon business, for example, when you start off, you're not making a lot of money. You're basically doing more work than you are the profits that you're kind of getting out of it. But it's not about the now. It's about where you'll be in a year, where you'll be in 5 years with Amazon. Yeah, it's that knowledge that you'll gain, so that next time everything comes around, you're not going to make all those stupid dumb mistakes that you made. But then, because you identify the same opportunities, you're going to double down on those opportunities, and then over time, the disparity between what you're doing wrong and what you're doing well should diverge, and you should be able to have far more prosperous times than not. Not to say you're not going to make mistakes in the future, but yeah. So I picked these up, this one specifically. So I picked this up for 0.062, $79.51, 14 days ago, right? And it sold like last night sometime for 117. Now, if you take off fees for that as well, I wish I had my calculator. Let's do it on here, my phone. if you know, it's not going to be much profit, right? Like it's, you know, like in terms of what people think you can make with NFTs. And you can make crazy profits with NFTs, but it doesn't mean that everything has to always be that. So 0. Well, let's just do the dollar part. 117.98 minus 9.6%, because that's actually what the fees are total. So even though I'm selling for this, I've got a minus 9.6%. So I'm making, well, I'm getting back $106.65. Obviously, minus what I paid for it. Here, is that the one? Yeah, $79.51. So you're making $27. Divide that by the buy price if you want to see the ROI or margin, bullshit like that. 79.51. You're making like 34% profit on that. Okay, you don't need to triple and quadruple. You can in bull markets, right? But you know, you got to do what you got to do in hard times. There's no point just running away when that is the most important time to learn, because what would happen is people will come back into the market when things are prosperous. My example would be this. Let's go on to Ethereum, right? Let's go on the monthly. You know, things are doing well here. As soon as it comes down to basically worthless money, well, like $90 for one Ethereum, no one gives a shit. No one gives a shit. The amount, you can see the volume down here, right? And you can see how much the volume just pops, obviously, when you're at the highs, or, you know, anywhere around like here. But you already, you know, that's already a 1,000% gain before people get in, you know, interested at $1,000. Yeah, it went to 4.5, but you want to be playing it, you know, at least, even if you're not playing it down here, which I wouldn't say, I would say we're somewhere around here, either this side or this side. But, you know, at least start playing it here, right? When there's a little bit of a, you know, forward momentum, but not, you can play it up here, right? But it's obviously a lot more risk, because the time that you've got before a down move is closer than here. So it means you know, the one thing you obviously don't know is the time with like pricing of crypto, because it's very volatile. But by obviously getting in earlier, you are giving yourself more breathing space for trying to maximize things, because you never know when that will happen. And that's just obviously going to lead to being a little bit more relaxed, knowing that shit, we haven't got to get our crap together because like it's already at the top of the bull market. You know, that's one thing that is important when trading. But the strategy is, obviously, let's get back to it, is obviously just to make these micro profits. You know, how am I doing that? Okay, so let's just go into the collection, and I'll actually do it right now so you can see. So what I did is I own some of these anyway, but you can see down here under offers the prices that people are offering. So you can see this one is basically, if anyone's going to accept a bid, it'll be this one first. It expires in 7 hours, and the next one's this one, 0.55. So what I did is I came into activity, like so, and I just want to see, you know, how long ago were bids being accepted? But this one's 0.064. Okay, actually that's not a bad one. Only because I have something similar and the rank's pretty decent. 0.058, 63, 62, 61, 69, 64. So it's around 6, right? Yes, there was one below, but it's around that 6 mark, probably because it looks a little bit prettier than the 5. And what you can go ahead and do is come into items here and make collection offer. So you can see obviously the floors here. So 0.06 is not huge. Well, the floor's about here. Like, it's not massively lower. So you might think, okay, you know, do I want to go a bit under that? Well, you could. Obviously, you have to work out like what's your break even. If I buy it at 0.06, you know, can I sell it at 0.07 and break even, like as in the bottom of the floor? So, you know, give yourself options, right? Understand what you're doing. But I'm going to click here, make collection offer. You can see the best offers here. I'm going to put it a little bit lower than this, but I'm going to put multiple bids, because what will try to hopefully do is get someone maybe sell a couple to me at once. Doesn't always happen, but it gives you the option that can happen. We're going to leave it as 3 days. The reason for the 3 days and not doing like a month or something is that, I'm just going to clear it quickly, is that the price of these could drop over the longer term, potentially. So I want to be able to, I want to be able to change my bid to a lower bid if I can see this ticking down little by little. So if we wake up in 2 days and this is at 0.066, you know, it looks like it's trending a little in the wrong direction. It doesn't mean that it's not going to get bought up maybe like next week. No one knows. But just looking at the prices, I think a couple of weeks ago, it was sort of more up here. So we're sort of ticking down, yeah, because people are looking like they're trying to get rid of them by just sort of undercutting a little bit. You can kind of see 0.071, 72, then it obviously goes down by 1, 1, and 1. And so obviously you don't want to keep those bids open, because what could happen is obviously at some point, if you put in a bid at 0.1 like a month ago when the floor was like 0.12, if that price comes down, someone's going to eventually accept your offer even though the floor is actually now lower. Do you kind of get what I mean? Because obviously, my price isn't going to change where this can go down, and eventually it will be so close to the floor or the floor, someone will just accept it. But I don't really want to be paying full price, the floor price. I want to be getting a discount so that I've got that little margin, that little buffer to either break even if I wanted to for whatever reason, or I can make micro profits with not much movement, maybe up to something like this. And actually, I sold mine for 0.092, which was like around here, which is not that far down, right? But in terms of the price, yeah, it's a little bit more. It's like 30% more. And why? Well, you might say, well, was it a rare one? Well, no, it wasn't. Maybe the person just enjoyed the NFT. What I mean by that is, we go onto it, you can see this one. It looks kind of a little bit cool. And people do sometimes go for that. Yeah, you can, obviously you can see the history here. So people do go for kind of more aesthetics, and there is a chance that you'll get sold a decent one. This is actually a really good rank, about a 1,500 out of a 10,000 collection. This is really generic, kind of looks okay. So that's why I actually priced it a bit lower. So obviously there's a strategy in that you might be able to get a little bit of a, more decenter, even that's not a word, but a more decenter one, and just try to squeeze out a little bit of extra profit than what you might necessarily do. So let's just jump back onto the avatar. And let's just put some bids in. So I'm going to make collection offer, all attributes. So I'm not worried about picking up anything too crazy. I'm going to obviously get the rat teeth. That is what you need. So if you don't know what rat teeth is, let's say you don't, we're going to start really simply. This is just my ETH account here. But in assets, I have a rat teeth here. So it's the same thing. And really, I'll move this probably over to here, because you can't basically place bids while it's in ETH. I have to convert it. And the easier way to do that is just to swap it and literally just do ETH to wrap teeth. Like literally just go ETH to wrap teeth. You pay a small fee. I'll show you what I just give it. So let's just put that. Hit the review button. It's going to give you this, and it will say estimated gas fees 40 cents. So I basically pay 40 cents, maybe a little bit more, to actually swap that over, but that's really non-existent. It's extremely small. I hate that it gets rid of my. Oh no, it didn't. It's there. Fine. Anyway, back to what we were doing. So once you've converted to wrap teeth, come in here. Wrap teeth 0.0. Let's just put 0.0. I'm going to put 0.06. I don't mind paying that. 3 days. Make the offer, because I'm using a ledger. I've already got it plugged in. Oh, that's the only annoying thing about a ledger. It goes on to standby mode very quickly, and you have to go back in and confirm your password. So I'm doing that right now. That's the one thing that really annoys me. But security, would you rather get hacked, or would you rather just take an extra 40 seconds to do this? Right. Application is ready. So if you haven't got it connected, it won't let you do it. Oh, it does. It does. Look. That's weird. Sometimes it doesn't. So sometimes when you go to do something, if your ledger is not connected properly, it doesn't let you scroll down here. You have to cancel and redo it, but it seems to be okay. Then on the ledger, it says sign the transaction. And because I obviously know I just clicked that myself, I know it's correct. Obviously, this is going to be the transaction for this. So if you've got a random thing pop up where you haven't done anything, you're not really, but you maybe got it connected still and you see that, don't accept it, because clearly you're not doing anything related to that. So that's done. So we're going to make another collection offer. A little bit lower. And these might expire, right? You've got to decide how many you want to do. Obviously, with wrapped ETH, you can pretty much place as many bids as you want with the balance you've got. And only when it gets accepted, then do you lose that ETH. It doesn't get locked up. while you're placing these bids. And then I might go for like 0.056. Could I remember there was someone at 0.055, so I just want to be a little bit higher. Let's go down. And I think that would be it for now, because obviously we could keep going down and down and down in terms of bids, but there's other people bidding as well. And obviously there'll be new people adding bids in today, and there's no point just sort of making a long list of lower bids when then you'll end up just getting lost with all those bids and you could be number 20 on the list or number 10. I don't really want to worry about that. I want to see if the bid offers at a reasonable price for me to want to take the punt on purchasing it. And obviously, if you want to just go, okay, well, what have I sold? Where would you sell it? Let's say you got it for 0.06. Where would you sell it? And there's no gas fees if someone accepts that. So the person buying the NFT from my bid, I won't pay gas. So my actual total cost all in is going to be what I pay. Rather than if you purchase one off of OpenSea or wherever, you're going to have to pay a transaction gas fee. Maybe it's only $4 or $5, right? But you're still going to add on an extra tax almost, like I see it as. But let's just go, okay, well, let's say we get a cool, one that looks a little bit decent. Like some of these look a bit more decent than others. Well, let's just say, what is 0.08 if you minus 9.6%, then you minus the buy price, 0.06, you've got 0.012. And that's not that much, right? Let's just go to ETH USD, 0.01232. Making $15, but the goal is not to make, not to think of it as like I'm just doing one sale at $15, or maybe I for example I just sold one a little bit more of a premium yesterday, wherever that is, because just like with Amazon, one person can sell a product to make £50 profit, buy it for 10, and like, oh my god, that's amazing, I've like 5x my money, but they're only able to sell one a month. But if I can buy 100 of that product for a much cheaper price, I can get like 100 products for I don't know, 50p or £1. Yeah, I'm spending more money, but then if I know that I can sell 100 a month and I'm making £1, that's £100 profit. So at the end of the day, that person that made £50 profit from one item, and I made £100 profit from 100 items, which one would you want at the end of the month? You would want the £100 profit because it's more money than the £50, just because the way you've done it is different. So obviously in this instance, no, there's not 100 potential, but there's definitely potential for let's say 6. Yeah, I don't know. Let's just say 6. We're going to be really kind of standard here. We're not going to be too complicated. It's obviously more because you can see here 8, 3, 7. You could that's probably 50 sales a month, something like that. But we're not being greedy. We're just starting off nice and simple. If you could sell 6 a month or even 4 a month, 4 a month would be around $100. And are you doing that much? Like, is it that complicated? No. Obviously you need to make sure you're getting in on the right collection, because you don't want to go, for example, just because I remember when I was looking at, because my girlfriend loves the project, so that's why. The in-betweeners. Oh, it's called maybe just in-betweeners. Like this, it's at 0.1999. So it's basically 0.2, right? And this is, not to say it's not going to work in the future, but a little while ago it was at 0.12. So it's already had a bit of a pump. So in my mind, as you can probably see here, 0.14 to 0.2, 0.13 to 0.2, like these things are normal, ups and downs. It doesn't mean you're not going to have like a bit more up at one point. This one is a 0.35. Well, it might have not, because there's only 2 sales, so that could have been that the 2 that were sold were better rankings, so someone paid a premium. But when like with this example now, it's already gone up from 0.12 somewhere around here, or 0.15 somewhere around here. It was about a week ago, yeah. Or here, 0.12, and it's now obviously at 0.2. So I would personally, what would I do? I wouldn't be looking to place bids in here, because I'd be looking for it to come down. And if it never comes down, that's fine, because it's not, you don't want to be relying on like there's only one project out there completely that you like and the rest are junk. No, there's many projects that are decent, but you want to be identifying in preparation. Basically, I build up my watch list. I look at them every week, every couple of days, every day, whatever it is. And I'm like monitoring the prices. And I'm going, okay, that's been at 0.1 for like a month. Oh, it popped up to 0.15. Oh, it's come back down again. And what you'll do is over like a couple of months, you'll see that they're just going up and down, up and down, up and down. Some of them will go up, have a more prolonged up for a bit. Some will have a bit more of a prolonged down, but you'll kind of get an average feel for over a 3-month period. What's the average floor price? Because I've been looking at this for the last couple of weeks, I know this is already at a little bit of a premium. So if I got in at a bid here, like at the fuck avatars, I got a bid in at 0.15. Well, I know that the floor, the natural floor, not even a bid floor, the floor was at 0.12 the other week. So let's just go back and I'll give you an example. Always look at the activity to give you a feel for it. Yeah, bids at the same, let's say 2 days ago. Let's just go down. But you can see here, even 4 days ago, bids were getting accepted for 0.129 and the floor was at 0.15. So you can see the bids now are actually where the floor was 4 days ago. Well, we're doing this bid strategy because we want to get it at a discount. Not to say that it is not a discount as of today. Yes, it is. But we want to be getting in at the best price so that the downside is less likely than the upside. Well, if you've just had a little bit of a pump, it's more than likely that you'll have a bit of a retrace. I mean, you telling me crypto prices just go straight up. Well, let's go to a 4 hour. Bitcoin goes up over about a day, 4% or $748. And then it goes down 1,700. And then it comes back up, things are doing that. And obviously you've got to bear in mind that we are in a bull market or bear market. If you're in a bull market, there's more likely to have more prolonged upsides. If you're in a bear market, you're going to have very muted upsides, and it's usually going to pop back down just because there's not retained interest in it, because there's just not enough hype or people in the space. There is enough to give it a bit of a movement, but not like just months or weeks and weeks of it, in a row. So, again, just looking down here, I want to go to like about 12 days ago. Yeah, so you can see here some of these floors, 0.13, 0.125. These are obviously going to be the cheapest ones because some people have paid premium for better ones. This is really cheap, Jesus. 0.099. I actually saw that and I was like, wow, someone must have got desperate and just listed it. It's so dirt cheap. You can see here, this person did a good flip. He bought it for 0.105 and he sold it here and he probably made like $20. Could he pay for a bid? So there's no wrap teeth. So there's no gas fees. Basically it's like a $30 gap here, right? Minus the fees. Now, obviously, you've got to make sure that the fees are super extortionate. 6%. So you've got 8.5% total costs. So, very similar to the fuck avatars, actually a bit better. So he's probably made $22. And again, yeah, just rinse and repeat. And if things don't work out, then just keep them because you believe. I love this project, and so it's like, well, I'm not going to do it on like, I don't know, let's just go on here. I'm going to do it on this project. Perfect titties. Let's go. What's the best price is 0.74. Awesome. The floor is, well, I guess if you want to make a quick flip, not financial advisor, I'm not a financial advisor, you buy this for 0.47 and you accept the wrap teeth bid down here at 0.74. This person minted this. Problem is I haven't got enough. As much as I would love to do this, which is a bit, hang on, I'm confused. I don't trust this. I just don't trust this. Okay, we're just gonna do a quick. When did this person put this bid in? Because this is like crazy that they minted this for such a cheap price. Something just looks weird on this. Okay, see, I'm not gonna do this myself. I don't know, something don't feel right. The problem is like how much risk do you wanna, in theory, this looks fine. In theory. This is something that may or may not happen. Did he put the collection? Is this collection offer? Collection offer. Is that when you actually go to accept these bids, it may not work. I would say it will, but there's a chance it won't because something doesn't line up. This is what doesn't line up. This price is a lot lower, 0.47, and it pops up here. So that best price does match what, if this was the floor, what that best price would be, right? The issue is I can't read any of this, but whatever, it doesn't matter much. The issue is that if people were buying these 15 minutes ago, 21 minutes ago, for the price that it currently is, why is no one accepting wrap teeth bids? The ones that are there currently on the table, there's 2 of them. I'm gonna add a different video for this because this is just very interesting. I feel that that is the next one people can accept, even though it hasn't expired. This is what I meant. So if someone accepts or bids, sorry, if someone accepts bids, even though it's showing here as active, it's not active because it won't work. I don't know if that's going to be true, right? Because unless I try to do this myself, I don't know. But the problem is, I do not want to be paying 0.42 ETH for this woman, right? I mean, granted, she's not ugly; she looks like decent enough, but I don't want to be doing that because it just doesn't. The only thing that looks wrong is that there's a best offer. People are buying it clearly here, and they should. One of these people that have just bought it in the last hour or 2 hours should be able to see that there's a best offer here. You know, I would say, does it look a bit weird with the wallets? No. I mean, there is a person here buying a lot of them, but the other people look kind of fair enough. I don't like it. I don't know what this is, but it seems to actually be popping. But you know, this is something you could actually like. It's worth deciding what the risk you want to attribute to. If the floor price was a lot lower, I could try it and potentially lose a bit of money and keep this NFT. I just don't like it that people have not accepted the bids in here. I just don't like. Oh, I don't know what's happening. Yeah, so that might be something that you could make money off, but the fact that nobody has, that no one's identified in the last hour and a half that there's bids like this could just be because they haven't seen. But it's very interesting, right? And you could make 0.3 ETH potentially in 1 second, $384. Problem is, it looks a little bit too good to be true. And usually when it's too good to be true, it is. Although people in NFT space are kind of a little bit more, because you have to do everything and it doesn't always say, are you sure you want to do this? Like if you do in personal banking. People could accidentally be bidding this and they actually mean 0.47. That's possible because that is identical to the floor. So that's a possibility because we just identified that literally the other way around would be identical to this one. But again, no thanks for me. You've got to work out over the time of doing NFTs, like you might play around with stuff like this, originally, and you get burned, or you find out, oh no, I tried that and it didn't work out, or blah 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 blah, or I broke even or lost. And it's like you've got to decide like where your boundaries are with things, But there's many people that would potentially buy this, and they could get away with flipping it just by accepting the best offer. That is the issue. A couple of things we've identified right now. I'm not going to do any more of this video because this has been me sitting looking at women with their tits out, but we're going to wrap it up there. Hopefully you enjoyed the main reason for the video, which is the fuck avatar, wrap teeth bids, but interesting food for thought for a little bit of a bonus on the end of this video. So, hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time, guys. Bye.